Teddy doesn't want his mother-in-law living in the house. I'll tell you what you ought to do. You ought to marry again, Mrs. Brown.
Who'd want to marry an old woman like me?
I would.
Don't talk silly. An old bachelor like you and me a widow all these years, you're out of your mind.
Don't you believe it? I'll run the tobacco side of the business, and you'll run the sweets, see?
I don't know if I'm standing on my head or my heels.
Make up your mind, Mrs. Brown.
My name's Emma, Mr. Foreman.
That's good enough for me. How about a kiss?
Ah! I haven't been kissed like that since my poor husband passed away.
Not many widows can say that, are they? Come along, let's go and tell the others. And tomorrow we'll go looking for a shop.
What a row they're making down there. What are they up to?
Stop the music! I've got an announcement to make. I've offered my hand and heart to Mrs. Brown. And what did Mrs. Brown say? She said, OK.
The next day, Albert and Emma went along the street and, by good luck, found a little shop to let that looked as though it would exactly suit them. 24 hours later, they'd taken it, and within a month, Albert Foreman was set up in business as tobacconist and newsagent.
Very nice, too.
All we want now is a few customers.
Give them time, Emma. Can't expect to do much business the first day we open.
Oh, look, there's a man at the window.
Oh, just one of them window shoppers. Told you so.
I'm as nervous as the day we were married, Mr. Foreman.
Not so much of the Mr. Foreman. We've been married a month now, and it's high time you started calling me by my first name, and that's Albert.
I know. The fact is, I've called you Mr. Foreman for 11 years. I can't get out of the habit now. I expect I'll call you Mr. Foreman till the day I bury you.
All right, have it your own way. All I can say is it would sound a bit funny if somebody heard you saying to me in the middle of the night, "Get in your own side of the bed, Mr. Foreman. You'll have me on the floor next."
I don't anticipate anyone being in my bedroom in the middle of the night, Mr. Foreman. And I shouldn't have thought you did either.
Penny for suckers, please.
Got a penny?
Of course I have.
Emma, get a penny with the suckers for the gentleman.
Go.
Here you are. Here's a tenner for you.
What, for me? What for?
For nothing, because you're our first customer. Now run along and tell all your friends.
Well, that's a nice way to make money, I must say.
Give us that penny. You think this is just a penny, don't you? Well, it isn't. Where's the hammer?
Whatever are you going to do now?
I'm going to nail this penny to the counter. And when we've made our first 1,000, I shall have it mounted for you to wear as a brooch.
And I thought I was marrying a quiet, respectable man.
Who's late?
Glad and Ted. I told you they was coming to supper. That's them.
I'll go and open the door. Hello, Glad. Come on in, Ted.
Hello, dear.
Hello, Mum.
Good evening, Ted.
Evening, Ma.
You can all sit down to table. Supper's just ready.
For what we're about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Though I must say there are things I'm more thankful for than cold mutton.
His lordship's getting quite fancy in his old age. Oh, what's the matter, Glad? You look as if you've been crying.
So you do, Glad. Ted been knocking you about?
That I haven't.
What's the trouble, then?
Well, she's expecting.
I know that. That's nothing to cry about.
Tell him, Ted.
I've got the sack.
Oh, Ted.
There's me expecting and no money coming in. I don't know what we're going to do.
Now, stop crying, Glad, and just listen to me. We haven't done so badly since we opened the shop. In fact, we've made a nice little profit. If we can make a success out of one shop, there's no reason why we shouldn't make a success out of another.
You can't do a thing like that. You're out of your mind.
No, I'm not. I'll get another shop and put Ted and Glad in to manage it.
Dad, you wouldn't do that.
And I'll tell you another thing. When the baby's born, we'll have a slap-up christening at St. Peter's, Neville Square.
to take care that this child be brought to the bishop to be confirmed by him so soon as he can say the creed, the Lord's Prayer, and the 10 Commandments in the common tongue, and be further instructed in the church catechism set forth for that purpose. Now will the parents and the godparents come with me to the vestry, if you please?
We don't all night, eh? Thank you.
It is Foreman, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I thought it must be. I hardly recognized you.
When I do a thing, I like to do it in style, sir.
Getting on all right? Are you?
I'm not complaining, sir. Seeing as how this is an occasion, sir, I thought perhaps you wouldn't mind if I was to give something for the poor and needy of this parish.
Of course I wouldn't mind.
Thank you, sir. £50, sir.
Albert's second shop, like the first, had been a success. It now occurred to him that if he could run 2, he could run half a dozen. So he and Emma began walking about London, and whenever they found a long street and no tobacconists and a shop to let, they took it. In the course of 10 years, he'd acquired no less than 10 shops, and he was making money hand over fist. He went round to all of them himself every Monday, collected the week's takings and took them to the bank. One day, he was making his usual call.
Good morning, Mr. Foreman. Regular as clockwork you are.
That's right. I've got no patience with them fellas who keeps their money under the bed. Asking for trouble, I'll call it.
The manager would like to see you before you go. He asked me to let him know when you looked in.
Well, what's the matter? Nothing wrong, is there?
No, no, of course not. He only wants a word or two with you, that's all.
Well, banks do go bust, don't they?
Not this one, Mr. Foreman. I think he's free now. I'll just go and see. Mr. Foreman, will you come in, please?
Good morning, Mr. Foreman. I was expecting you. Regular as clockwork, aren't you?
That's what the fellow outside said.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you, sir.
You have a cigarette?
No, thanks. I don't smoke them now. I'll sell them.
And from what I know, you make a very good thing out of it, eh?
I'm not complaining.
Now, Mr. Foreman, I wanted to have a talk with you about the money you've got on deposit with us. Do you know exactly how much it is?
Not within £1 or 2, but I've got a pretty good rough idea.
Apart from what you're paying in this morning, it's something over £30,000. That's a very large sum of money, Mr. Foreman. I should have thought you'd do better to invest it.
I wouldn't want to take no risks.
Quite right, too. We'd make you out a list of perfectly safe securities, sound industrials. They'd bring you in a higher rate of interest than we could possibly afford to give you.
I've never had anything to do with stocks and shares.
No, we'd attend to everything. All you'd have to do would be just to sign the transfers.
Yes, but how would I know what I was signing?
Well, you could read, I suppose.
Well, that's just it. I can't. I know it sounds funny, but there it is. I can't read or write, only my name.
But that's the most extraordinary thing I've ever heard.
Well, you see, it's like this, sir. I never had the opportunity until it was too late, and then somehow I wouldn't. I got obstinate like.
But do you mean to tell me that you've been able to build up this important business and amass a fortune of over £30,000 without being able to read or write? Good heavens, man. What would you be today if you had been able to?
Well, I can tell you that, sir. I'd be Verger at St. Peter's, Neville Square.